what is exciting about today then, Russell?
Well, today we have our first music photography of the year.
Fantastic.
And most of last year too.
And most of last year too, yeah.
So yeah, we've obviously been out the music photography experience for a long time, game experience for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it can happen. So now we're back into it. We
Tonight's
have
the
new
night.
gear now. We have new gear.
We do.
Newer lenses, newer bodies, and we haven't really had the experience of testing it in this environment.
No. So since I bought the Z6 II, you bought your Z7 II, disappointment, and your Z6 II, happy with that?
Yeah, I mean, this is, for me, this is, last time I did music photography, I had my D850, which is a legendary camera.
Legend.
But, so these are supposed to be better in low light, because ISO performance on both of them should be better.
Z6, definitely.
But my only concern is the autofocus, which will be an experience, because I've done low light at wedding receptions, which has been quite tricky. I'll be using my Z7 Mark II, which is filming, and my Z6 II, which is filming, but obviously very similar to yours.
So Z6 with the 24-70 f2.8, Z6 II with a 70-200.
So basically I'm putting the 24-70 on the Z6 II because the Z6 II is better in low light, so therefore it'll have a better chance of getting cleaner images. But on my Z7, I'm not sure whether to use the 50 1.8 or the 85 1.8, because the 85 is a better portrait lens, though you have to be further away to get the same pictures. You know, it'd be quite a... I don't particularly want just headshots of musicians, obviously.
No.
So then the 50mm, which I'm finding, I use on my secondary body now for weddings, because I don't have to stand...
No.
I don't have to suddenly jump back to get the same pictures.
1.8, really sharp.
I could step back a few steps and get the full length of them at 50 1.8, and it looks great.
What are you wearing your cowboy gear tonight?
Yeah, I'm wearing my harness.
Wearing his cowboy harness.
Which is it.
He gets far too much enjoyment out of this.
This is my cowboy harness.
Even when he hasn't got any cameras on it.
No, it looks so sexy. I think
it's very much a matter of opinion.
So obviously this is a bit crude, but usually, you know, I straighten up the straps and stuff. It's basically it's there, and it's got a safety hook, and it goes into the bottom of it.
How sad does that look?
I think it looks great.
Okay. What I'm going to use is probably a Peak Design, this wider Peak Design strap. They've all got names, I can't remember what they are, but I'll use this on the 70-200 probably. What I'm thinking of using on the 24-70 is the Peak Design capture clip, which I've tried this on its own before on a belt, and it just doesn't work for me. It's too much weight hanging off. Belt to carry, I think. Oh, Pro Pad, no, sorry. Peak Design Pro Pad. So this actually fits on your belt, and then it just makes it more substantial on your belt. So what I'm probably going to do is stick that, I'm going to try it anyway, stick that on my belt and put the clip the 24-70 in. I will probably just use like a single point focus and recompose. I'll probably use back button focus, so I'll use the back button focusing, I'll disengage the shutter button from focus, and I'll put it in AFC, so continuous focusing, and just use the back button to focus. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be interested to try autofocus just for the sake of trying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably use single point focus, shutter speed about 200.
I was thinking a minimum of 160, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, gigs, obviously, by definition, it's all low light.
Yeah, that's what I found using centre weighted. Even when I use centre weighted metering, it doesn't seem to centre meter it.
No.
If I'm indoors and there's a bright window, it'll often
still gets distracted by that.
It's distracted by it, and I have to switch. That's when I have to turn auto ISO off.
Yeah, but you could try exposure compensation. With the Z-mount lenses, to some extent, gone are the days when people say, well, yeah, you get a 2.8 or 1, but then you need to stop it down a few stops to get it at its best. This 70-200 is brilliant at 2.8.
Really sharp. As our other videos have shown, it's almost as sharp as 6.3. So yeah, it'll be fun. This will be good. And we'll show you the results afterwards.
Unless it works out crap, and this this video will never see the light of day, and this will all be deleted. Anyway.
Oh, do you want me to press record?
You just can't get the stuff any longer.
If anybody knows this is called Colours, I would definitely appreciate your support on this one.
So there we go. How did it go for you?
First of all, I really enjoyed it, getting back to photographing music gigs. Loved it. I enjoyed it because we were able to go up in the balcony, which I did I was up there virtually all the time, without any punters up there, which made it a lot easier to operate. And also it was a great sort of view and a distance for using the 70-200, which I used predominantly because I knew you were walking around with the 24-70. So in the end, I just pretty much stuck to the 70-200 and probably got some more close-up shots where you were going for the wider group shots.
Yeah. Now, what about the quality of the shots from the 70-200?
I was, as always, very happy with them. I mean, yes, it was low light, but I could leave it on 2.8 all the time, as we said in the intro, that I was expecting to do, because it's still very sharp at 2.8. And I used shutter speed of 200, I think, mostly. That's, if you went a bit, say, down to 160, you might get a little bit of movement if you weren't careful. So 1/200th, f2.8, auto ISO, great.
Brilliant. Okay.
How about you?
Well, yeah. So I started with the 24-70, which was great. I left it on my Z6, and for the low light capability, and it was really good. I was walking around the crowd, doing wide shots. I went up to the stage as much as I could. Even at 70 at 2.8, it was good.
Yeah.
But then I switched from the 50 to the 85 because I couldn't get, the 50 was too far away.
Yeah.
So the 85 was just about right for the focal length.
Yeah.
And I went up to the balcony as well a few times to see you from the sides.
Yeah.
And the 85 worked brilliantly, 1.8, really sharp. And yeah, so it worked really well. All the equipment went really well. I had one regret though. We didn't use the 14 to 30.
I was just about to say that. I didn't use it at all. I forgot almost I had it with me. And you used it on like one shot, and it was fun. Okay, f4, but you had a beautiful wide shot on it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, because you're shooting at f4, you think, well, we're struggling at 1.8 and 2.8. You think we were just about doing it okay. So you put an f4 on, you think it's not going to stand a chance.
They're so good, though, aren't they?
They are so good. But f4 with the Z6, as you can see from the example, is really good. Obviously, you can't crop in that far.
No.
But for a wide establishing shot, I've got the whole venue.
Yeah.
Even when I went to the side of the stage and pointed kind of like behind the band to the crowd, again, I've got the whole venue, f4, it's sharp. It's pretty good. So yeah, so next time, if you've got the lenses, this is a kind of lesson for us. Have a go, see what it looks like.
Yeah, I have auto ISO on, but then I have negative exposure compensation, sometimes up to -3 stops, which works for me because I don't want to blow out any highlights, and you can get highlights with the lights changing constantly. I'm not interested in bringing back the shadows, because if you open up the shadows on a gig, all you're doing is all the rubbish around the stage. If anything, I'll close the shadows down. So -2, -3 on the exposure compensation works well, but also then that does help keep your ISO lower when you're using auto ISO.
For me, I took a different strategy. I found the ISO I wanted that fit the bill, so it wasn't overexposed, it wasn't underexposed. I just kept it on that. Because once the lighting was pretty much the same, constant, it was using the same amount of light, I just kept it on the same ISO and I was happy.
Yeah, and it worked all right
and
for
it
you.
worked fine for me, yeah.
So what I find, because I was shooting on also fairly fast frames per second, because if people are moving and say the drum or whatever, you end up looking through loads and loads of photos of almost the same thing, but you're looking for the right facial expression and position, that you might have one frame where there's no lights, and the next frame there's loads of lights because they're coming. And for me, I feel that auto ISO helps me balance that. But I think it would have worked if I'd have kept it on the constant one as well.
And I think it was quite a bright gig overall, wasn't it? There wasn't really, and the only time that I couldn't take photos of the crowd was when they turned the lights off completely.
Yeah.
And that was the only time.
It was brighter than your average. Some gigs, it's like, please turn the light. They're trying to get the mood, and there's just nowhere near enough light. And one thing I did try, and I don't know whether it really worked, was say when I was photographing, say picking up, because I had the 70-200, I was often like choosing individual members of the band and doing some close-ups. When I was concentrating on the drummer, I tried like 1/30th down to 1/15th of a second to get some movement in the sticks, and had one or two okay results out of that, because that was just trying to get a bit different.
So how was the autofocus for you?
Well, I don't know, we probably touched on it, and I didn't even try eye or face detect. I don't think you need to. I just use single point. I was using back button focus, as I said at the beginning, because the focus does hunt a bit because the light's low, it can do, and obviously your subject's moving around, some moving faster or much more than others. But I find with the back button focus, once the focus locks in, just let go of the button and then you're fine. So for me, single point focus in the centre of the frame, really, back button focus, recompose, it did it.
And another point on the autofocus was, it was a lot more temperamental than using it in daylight, obviously.
Yeah.
It was tricky at times. I missed several shots that I could have got if the camera focused in time. I did try switching to manual as well, but generally it was good. Probably comparable to my D850 on the hit rate. So yeah, it's just they're enjoyable to use, and with the high ISOs of the bodies, the Z6 and the Z7, it's really fun to use, and you're going to get a lot of winners with them.
Yeah. I wasn't even tempted to bother trying face or eye detect. Did you try it?
I did try it at first, but it didn't work. Because I was either too far away because their faces weren't big enough in the frame, or the scene was too complex and it wouldn't find the face. Okay. So then I switched to continuous mode on the same one as you. Yeah. But I still found it wasn't as quick as I wanted it to be. So then I actually switched back to single focus point, single focus point, and
AFS.
AFS, and I didn't use a back button.
And that's the beauty with the back button though, because you've got AFS and AFC
in the same
combined, just depending on whether you're pressing
I've got to get used to using it.
It's worth a try.
It's just something I've got, I'm not used to doing, and maybe I should have then.
But I was interested because 70-200 was fine at that venue. I did a tiny little gig on Monday night of one of the stages, and I just took the 70-200 with me, thinking it's a small venue, will it be too close? But no, it was fine for. It was often like 2 or 3 members in the band, so 200 would pick out an individual, but 70 didn't have to be too far away to get the whole sort of trio in.
Well, I was looking for your photo because obviously I looked through I sent off both our photos to the band, and the 70-200, the photos do stand out, even from the 85 1.8. Obviously I could get very similar photos, but it was just because of your position, your point of view, and you could get that close to
straight in at 200 mil.
It's just it's just unbeatable.
So I think with the 70-200 f2.8, 24-70 f2.8, really you could do it. You don't need anything else with it.
It depends on the gig. I mean, this was a really bright gig. Like you said, if it was like a jazz gig in like a really sublit bar,
you might need the 1.8.
Then I think these will, the 1.8s will come into its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out the band as well, Parade and Everything. The links below. Don't go on our audio quality from the GoPro.
Yeah, the GoPro was just there really to have a bit of background to show you the photos and just show you what we were doing. But actually, the audio off the GoPro wasn't too bad.
So yeah,
be interested to know what you thought of the photos we've put in the video.
Know photos and any other advice you could give us for using these.
If you shoot music gigs, what do you do that's different to what we do? So that we can learn from basically.
Yeah, there we go. Can't wait for the next one.
Every day's a school day.
We'll have to do like a jazz one in a really low lit bar, lighting bar,
which is different again, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's when this will change our review of what we use. But yeah, great, brilliant.
Thank you very much.